Okay, it started.
Okay. Hi, we're group 10 again, and this is us in our scenario 200 planning. We kind of went through all of our scenario 200 planning spreadsheets and just kind of went from there and talked about whose approach to this scenario looked better than the others and why one looked better than the others. So we were definitely able to learn from how changing prices can affect rather than just how much inventory you put in. So it was definitely a learning experience compared to last time. So I'll begin and I'll share mine and I'll kind of walk you through my spreadsheet and then we'll go through everybody else's, including our teams. So I am in charge of putting in the production orders. That was kind of my role last time, and we're just keeping that role because now that's what we're most comfortable in. So I had to make sure that there was always production orders in the queue. I was always having enough and enough of what we actually need rather than just having access. I'll share my screen. Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my spreadsheet right here. Um, so starting off, I kind of kept everything the same at Taj Mahal. I didn't do much of a difference. I changed the production right here a little bit. Started off with 3,000 through June, and then I bumped it up a little bit to 3,500, and then went up to 4,000 once we got to the end months because that's when we needed it the most. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but and then my price, I kept it pretty much the same, 1750 until we got to October. At the end of the month, I dropped the price a little bit just because I knew that the demand was going to go down. So I did drop that, but then I did realize that there was a change in demand. So that might have helped me, but once we looked at the others, it didn't, I realized that it didn't really make that much of a difference. Going down to Alley Cat. I started off with 6,000, dropped it down in the middle here, then kind of bumped it up a little bit and then dropped down again. I just felt like this was the best for like what beers sell the best in what months. And for the price, this was kind of all over the place. I started out at 1550 and then I moved up to 17 through August. And then again, once we got to the slower months where this isn't going to sell as much, I bumped it back down to 15 because I didn't want too much of access. Because right in here, I had a change of demand that had negative, so I wanted to drop that a little bit. So I think that was definitely a learning experience for me. Um, Over here, I kept the prices pretty much even over here. I was very glad that I didn't have any lost sales in anything, so I was happy with how I had my production and the prices. I did have a little bit of a change in demand that was negative here, so I think if I were to do this again, I would definitely play with the prices a little bit to see if how I changed it would affect the instead of this being negative, turning it positive. And then at the end, my EBT was 214,604. So it was good, but after meeting with my group, I was able to realize where some of my flaws were in my planning spreadsheet so that when we do it as a group, we're able to do better. So that was mine. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna share mine. Okay, can you guys like see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so for my spreadsheet, for Taj Mahal, I did change production quite a bit. I actually started with 0 in January, and then I worked my way up to back to 3,000, and then slowly increased it each month. For price for Taj Mahal, I only decreased price from September through December, and then I also decreased it in May. But other than that, I pretty much kept it the same. For Alley Cat, I did and have it high for production in January through um, September, and then I dropped it October through December because I knew demand would go down during the months, and I had price up to $17 from April to August. For Edgar L, I pretty much kept the price all the same. I didn't end with any lost sales or any negative production of Edgar Ale, and my ending EBT was 217,107. Okay. Rachel, are you gonna go?
Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So my format's kind of all wonked up, so the colors are not even showing. But I did my spreadsheet based off the video, but a little bit based off the rubric. I started off with Actually, I started off from instead of Taj Mahal first, I did Alley Cat first because Alley Cat and Edgar kind of connected. And then after that, that's when I went backwards and worked on Taj because that one stays consistent. So I didn't really need to like base anything from that one. Um, for the production, I started off a little, I originally started off with 0 in January, but then because Alley Cat doesn't really sell much in the winter, but then I decided to increase it and just do less of Edgar, which apparently helped it better, but then I just kept decreasing it in Alley Cat up until I got to 1,000 in December. And then for the prices, I just where's the prices? Okay. For the prices, majority of it was more so at the beginning of the year, it would stay at its original price. And then in the winter, it would also set its original price. But then in the summer months, it would decrease because that's what the rubric kind of said. It was like decrease the pricing in the winter and then increase it in the summer. So that's what I did. Um, and then kind of similar to what I did with Alley Cat, that's what I did with Taj Mahal. But because it sells consistently, I just decreased it to 3,000 instead of like 6,000, 5,000. So I just put the whatever was practically left over from Alley Cat and Edgar put together, and that's how I did the production for Taj Mahal. And my end result for my EBT was 212,425.
Okay, so for me, the reason why I'm going last is because I got the highest EBT out of all of us overall. So we're gonna be using mine to combine all of our knowledge. So for Taj Mahal, I lowered the price to $17 early in the year to get more sales, and I increased production to keep up with the higher demand, but not overproduce at the same time. Um, Doing this helped to help demand to rise due to lower prices and sales to increase steadily through the year. For Alley Cat, I increased price to $17 in the middle of the year once inventory and demand stabilized, and I reduced the production to avoid lost sales and balance inventory levels across the months. Doing this helped to increase gross profit and there was fewer lost sales. For Edgar Ale, I didn't change the price because lowering it didn't improve the EBT much, and I ended up with 218,604. The main difference between mine and my group members was that they dropped their price for Taj Mahal October to December, And I also had 50 cents higher from September to December for Alley Cat, and they upped their prices for Edgar Ale, and they had a negative change in demand.
So I think the biggest thing that we learned was just that sometimes when you decrease the price or increase the price, we really have to look at how it's affecting the other numbers, because sometimes changing it really isn't making that much of a difference. And at the end of the day, it's not going to be worth it to change your price 20 to 50 cents when you could be changing another number that can bring up your EBT at the end of the day. So it was really nice to be able to compare ours and see which would work the best for us. So I think that definitely going off of Frida's for our next one. We know what to do. We know we don't have to change Edgar, and we can kind of start off at a lower price at the top for Taj Mahal, and then bring it up a little bit so we don't have to be kind of all over the place with our pricing, which can result in a higher impact and change in demand, which is good. We all are keeping our same roles. We have a person in charge of inventory, production, looking at the graphs, and then someone that's just overlooking everything to make sure that we're not missing anything. So the way that it worked last time was really well. We're finally figuring it out and how to work as a team. But yeah, so that's our plan for scenario 200, and can't wait to give it a try. Thank you.